You know, I asked my mother a long time ago, I said, why'd you name me Shaquille O'Neal? And she said, because my grandmother told me that you will be somebody that will always be remembered. That's what she told me. I mean, because, you know, all my other kids, cousins are Brian, Kenny, Tony, Jerome, Mike,
Shaquille.
Mike Jr. Yeah, I was like, why'd you name me that crazy name? She said, because my mother told me that you're gonna be world renowned. That name, Shaquille O'Neal, will ring bells.
With the first pick in the 1992 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic selects Shaquille O'Neal from Louisiana State University.
Hill puts it on the floor and stops, and he brought it down. He brought the whole goal down. O'Neal, a monster follow. Oh my goodness, Shaq.
You gotta love him.
Shaquille fadeaway. Bryant to Shaq. Oh, it's looking showtime. Can you take it?
Every now and then, a college player comes along who seizes the attention of NBA brass league-wide. LSU's Shaquille O'Neal is such a player. At this point, it appears he'll stay in college and not leave after his sophomore year, but he has until May 11th to decide. I spent some time with the Shaq earlier this week and found that he's learned to play this game one way.
No matter who the opponent is, just go out and kill him. If he's small, short, big, fat, tall, just go out and kill him.
Who taught you that?
My father. Take no prisoners.
I remember that trip we took down there to San Antonio to talk to this guy who everybody was talking about. Can you take me back to that stage of your career? You're at LSU, and everybody says you're going to be the #1 pick, and what your expectations were at that point for your career, or did you have expectations at that point?
Let's go back to before that. You know, a lot of people don't know I was a football player, and I love playing football. And my father comes in the house one day very upset. He has a paper, and he throws it at my chest. He said, if you stop messing around, maybe you can be like this. I open up the paper, John Concac signs 15 for 3. Yeah, so we go watch the Hawks play the Spurs, and I'm watching John, and I'm like, I'm doing what he's doing now, and a little bit more. If I stop messing around and play like this, I can make $5 million a year. That's when I stopped putting, I put the football away and started focusing on basketball. My dream as a youngster was to make $8 million for 10 years. And I already had it set. I had a little house. I was gonna get a Jimmy Blazer and a Mercedes-Benz and a little house. I already had it.
So you've exceeded your expectations.
Yes, I did. I really did. And then I made a name for myself, and I decided to go to LSU because when I was in Germany, I was an awful player. Coach Brown.
Awful by your standards, or
No,
awful by you didn't know the game?
I was 13. I was 6'9". I couldn't dunk. I couldn't play. I was clumsy. I confided with Coach Brown. I said, can you send me some stuff on how to get stronger? And Coach Brown said, you know what? Whether you become a basketball player or not, I want to offer you a scholarship. Right there at age 13. Without even knowing what I was going to become, he offered me a scholarship. So when I came back to San Antonio and made a name for myself, and everybody was coming at me, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to LSU. I was close to home, and Coach Brown wrote me letters every day before I became the Shaq, and that's when I decided to go to LSU.
Let me go back to when you're 13 and you're awful.
Terrible.
Okay, you're 6'9" and you can't dunk.
Can't dunk, can't play.
So you couldn't dunk at that point. Could you shoot free throws back then?
Yes, I could. I actually could.
So you sacrificed that to dunk, huh?
Yes, I did. I was, funny story, and I know you're not gonna believe it, and I know people out there are not gonna believe it. I was a shooter before I became a dunker.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
No, I was a shooter. So one game in high school, and that's why I miss my father so much, because he could just tell me one time and it'll make me change my whole direction. I'm playing against guys 6'1", 5'8", 5'9", but I know they can't stop me, so I want to work on other parts of my game. So I'm dribbling between my legs, shooting jumpers, I got 40 points and we're up by 30. So I come down one time and instead of throwing it down, I do a finger roll and I miss. My father comes on the court, calls a timeout.
Oh, come on, man, this looks like a movie. This looks like...
Seriously, you know my father, Sarge.
Yeah.
He comes on the court, timeout.
Your father called time.
Yes, he called timeout, he grabbed me, takes me outside. I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm working on my game. I'm trying to be like Dr. J. So he takes me like this and slams me against the wall. Boom! Ain't no Dr. J. You gotta be Shaq. And I was so upset at him, I just started dunking the ball every time. But when I started doing that, I started seeing players doing this. And I was like, you know what? We may have something here. So like whenever I dunk and get people to move back, then I know I got you. But the reason why he did it, he wanted me to learn how to dominate. And he was like, it's your senior year, you're going to college, you need to start picking it up. If you want to reach the John Concact dream, you need to start picking it up.
And now Shaquille O'Neal joins the NBA and the Orlando Magic.
I always tell people I lived the Karate Kid life growing up. My father did a lot of weird stuff, but it's helped me out to this day. One of the things he always used to do was whenever one of our teammates got hurt, he'd cancel practice and he'd make us go to the hospital and visit children. Whenever we had too much clothes or too much toys in the house, he'd say, all right, clean up, PT time. We'd have to get all our toys, get all our clothes. He'd take us down to the Salvation Army. We hand out stuff. He'd make me go out and cut grass and sell lemonade. He wanted me to learn responsibility. He taught me how to respect other people, other religions. So all the stuff that he did as a youngster is paid off very well for me.
Set the record straight on the David Robinson story. And the way I have heard it, probably from you, was that he stiffed you for an autograph when you were a kid and you held it against him. And now you're telling me this is not true?
It's not true. I made it all up. Mr. Robinson, I apologize. I was taught to play with ferocity. I need to be upset. Something has to be said in an article or on TV about me for me to respond. Like I used to like watching you guys and you guys saying, oh, blah, blah, blah. I used to be like, oh, okay, Ernie. Okay, Chuck. Okay, Kenny. Okay. But David Robinson was the nicest man ever. I was a big man on campus in San Antonio, and then the Spurs, they draft him, and he steals all my shine. So I meet him one day and I was like, Mr. Robinson, can I have your autograph? So I learned a lot from him. I learned as a big man, you can get easy buckets by running the floor. I also learned the spin lob thing.
Up the alley-oop, slam through. O'Neal into the lane. Slammer. Oh, baby. Save the women and children on that one.
I learned that from watching David Robinson. So I meet him. We have a conversation. He signs my autograph. First time we play as the Spurs, he kills me. Kills me. And my father rips me a new one. Oh, you showing him too much respect. I don't care if that's David Robinson. You Shaq O'Neal. You need to dominate. You need to go home and think about what you need to do. So I was like, you know what? He didn't give me this autograph when I was 15 years old. That pisses me off. So like from that point on, when I said that to myself, that he didn't give me he stiffed me for autograph as a youngster, I wanted to pay him back. That was my way of competing with David Robinson.
Hill delivering to... Shaq spins. Oh, the extra move.
Did he ever call you out on that? Did
No.
David, in all these other years, ever say, what are you talking about, man? I never stiffed you on an autograph.
But you know what? I saw him with his sons. And, his son was a wide receiver at Notre Dame. So I think I saw him. Matter of fact, last year at the All-Star game, and I pulled him to the side, I was like, David, I apologize. I made up this bogus story that you never gave me an autograph, but that wasn't true. He was like, Shaq, I know you, Shaq. You're just a jokester. So, he...
Had he heard the story before?
Yeah. He heard it. Yeah, but it wasn't true.
The chance to play with Penny in Orlando. Why did that run its course? That seemed Shaq like, wow, inside, outside, what a combination, what a 1-2 punch. Why did that run its course so quickly?
It was perfect. It was the Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar remix. I think the business of basketball interrupted that.
Let me see your best.
So, I guess we will never know between the two of us. I'm seeing that you just destroyed the basket.
Shaquille follows and almost does bring down the entire backcourt. That's what we haven't seen.
Hill puts it on the floor and stops and he brought it down. He brought the whole goal down. Goodness. Oh, boy. Oh, man.
It was on every highlight reel everywhere when you were tearing down backboards. Were you just trying wherever you could to make that happen? I mean, when it happened in New Jersey, were you trying to, consciously trying to do it and trying to add to the lore of, boy, you've heard a lot about Shaq, you've seen him do everything, and now this?
Yes, because playing in Jersey, where I'm from, all the family was there, had to perform. Also in Jersey was the only man to ever dunk on me in the NBA, Derek Coleman. Derek Coleman got me with a left one time, and so every time we tried to play Jersey, I wanted to let him know that I was coming. So when I tore the backboard down, I was trying to do it.
On the floor and stops and he brought it down. He brought the whole goal down.
And that thing came straight down.
He brought the whole thing down.
Oh, it broke off right on the fringe there, on the hinge there.
Unbelievable.
Oh, man.
Behind the back to Shaq. Oh, nice pass. Lob to O'Neal. Look at the big fella handle the ball. Over Ewing. Oh, baby.
The chance to play with Penny in Orlando. Why did that run its course? That's, you know, that seemed, Shaq, like, wow, inside, outside, what a combination, what a 1-2 punch. Why did that run its course so quickly?
It was perfect. It was the Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar remix. I met him on the set of Blue Chips, and I came back, and I tested out my general manager skills, because you hear other people, Jordan got him traded, so I was like, you know what, I'm the guy on the team. Let me test this out. Go up to John Gabriel and said, listen, I know we got the first pick, and I know you want C-Webb, but I'm just coming off this movie set, and this guy, Penny Hardaway, he's the man. We need to get him. And the first day, you know, and then I kind of had to throw it out there. Well, if you don't get me the guard I need, my deal's coming up in 2 years, I may have to do something else. Politely, respectfully, and they said, okay. So they interviewed Penny, and you know, they brought him down, and, you know, we played together all summer, and we was dominating all summer. It was like, you know what, this could work. They told me that they were going to pick Penny, but then they picked T-Web, and I damn near tore my house up. Like, oh, you lied to me, but I was upset. And then, wait, and then I saw them switch hats. I was like, okay, they kept their promise. Now let's get it cracking.
And Hardaway runs it out. Ahead, Shaq, the catch, and the stop.
Then I made the call to Horace Grant because I saw he was disgruntled in Chicago, and I said, no, we let a power forward go, but I can get one that's pretty good with championship experience. Horace came, we got a couple other pieces, and we were on our way. I think the business of basketball interrupted that. You know, because I was always taught to maximize my potential, and you know, my deal was up, and you know, I knew I was a big name guy in the league, and I just wanted my fair share. And the funniest thing is, I was getting ready to sign 80 for 20. I really was. 20 a year would have been plenty for me, because my first contract was $40 million for 7 years. So 80 for 20 would have been good. And something said, don't sign. So the next morning when I wake up, da-na-na, da-na-na, Alonzo signed for, I think it was 110. No, Alonzo signed for 115, Jalen signed for 110. So I think my quote was, if you pay 110 for a BMW, how much does a Mercedes cost?
Sounds like something you'd say.
Yeah, so I went back in. And, you know, I learned in college, you start high. So I said, okay, 150. I think kind of pissed the Orlando Magic off a little bit. And, you know, we went through a rough negotiating. And then my agent at the time, Leonard Armato. Matter of fact, I was here in the Olympics, 96. And he says, Jerry West wants to talk to you. And I go in Jerry's suite, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. He says, I got some good news and some bad news. I said, well, what's the good news? He said, I can come close to that 150. I said, what's the bad news? He says, not 150, it's 121. So we called the Orlando and we gave them a chance to match it. They didn't match it, so I signed that night with the Lakers. And I knew I was going to have to start all over. And if the Lakers didn't have a similar team, minus Penny Hardaway, I wouldn't have did it. But, you know, they had Nick Van Exel, pretty good. They had Eddie Jones. They had another big guy, Eldon Campbell. And then Jerry is bragging about some kid. Say, hey, I'm working on something right now. Just remember this name, Kobe Bryant. Like, he kept telling me that name. I was like, okay. And it worked out. You know, it turned out to be one of my better business decisions. People always ask me about the relationship, and I have to correct them sometimes. I say, you guys talk as if we didn't win any championships. We won 3 out of 4. And if I had it all over to do again, I'd probably do it the same way.
Portland has 3 timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to Shaq.
What's the one word that describes how your relationship with Kobe started in L.A.?
It began with a lot of patience. Kobe has always been one of those guys to want to compete, want to be the best. He told me one time he was going to be the Will Smith of the NBA. He told me that at 18 years old. I was like, okay, young fella. But I saw something in him that, like, you know what, this kid definitely has a potential. Like, you know how they always say people are in the gym a couple hours before, a couple hours after? That definitely was Kobe Bryant. Man, I'm a
First
veteran.
to get there, last to leave.
Yeah, because I'm a veteran. Practice is at 10. I'm arriving at 9:45. That's just
9:45, 9:55. Come on, you're giving yourself a little credit. 9:59:30.
Right, 9:55. So, I mean, but he was always there. It was a game against Utah. I'm gonna say it's his rookie or second year. You know, we're getting pummeled in the playoffs, and nobody wants to take the last 3 shots. He takes them. They're all air balls. If you remember me walking off the court with him. I said, you know what, everybody's laughing at you now, but one day they're gonna fear you taking these shots. And then it became sort of a respectful power struggle.
So from a patient relationship to?
A respectful power struggle. Like, people always talk about the relationship, and you have to understand that leaders always have 2 difficult tasks. You have to focus on the relationship, or you have to focus on the task. Early, I focused on the relationship, and we got swept. Phil Jackson comes along, you know, makes us read books. You know, we have different way about doing things. So now I focus on the task. And studies show that when you focus on the task, relationships start to dwindle away. My sole purpose was to win at any cost. And when you're deemed the leader, sometimes you have to make tough decisions. If you tell him he can't do something, he's gonna do it. You know, if you keep pushing buttons, it's gonna make him play at that next level. And I needed him to play at that level. He needed me to play at that level. So sometimes we competed with each other. And if we competed with each other, the best little guy, the best big man competing with each other, trying to be the best, and do it inside a system, it spells, you know, success. You know, people always ask me about the relationship, and I have to correct them sometimes. I say, you guys talk as if we didn't win any championships. We won 3 out of 4. And if I had it all over to do again, I'd probably do it the same way.
This is it, fellas. You work all year long for it, man. Shaq the man, most dominant player in the world.
We stormed through the league 3 times in a row. But when everything started to shift a little bit and things started getting topsy-turvy.
Not everything's going to work out, you know, with the perfect ending.
3 weeks ago, he wouldn't even acknowledge Kobe, wouldn't even mention his name.
He's been holding on to his hostility for Shaquille much too long.
There comes a point in time we got to part ways.
When you leave Los Angeles for Miami, you trying to tell me everything's cool between you and Kobe at that time?
Yes and no. I didn't want to leave, but being a veteran in the business of basketball, I realized that can't be two kings. And every great movie that I've seen, mafia movie, just put it in better terms, the younger boss always takes out the older boss. So I knew it was going to happen. And I said to myself, going into the finals, you know, I put together this super team. I brought in Gary Payton, I brought in Karl Malone, Kobe, myself. If we don't win, change is going to have to be made. So I knew once we lost, I knew I was going to be in trouble. I didn't know how quick. It was like a week later, I'm sitting with Sharif and Miles and Shakir. We're eating cereal, and I see on ESPN that Mitch Kupchak says Shaquille O'Neal is open for trade talks. I was upset because I thought that they would give me a little bit more respect and at least call me on the phone and say, hey, we're thinking about moving you. The way they did it kind of upset me. And that's why when I went to Miami, I had a lot of harsh things to say. But it's business.
So where are you two now?
We speak. We're cool. You know, I saw him at the ESPYs. Went to the last games. Every time I see his daughters, I was like, hello, I'm Uncle Shaq. And his oldest daughter said, you say that every time you see us. So, you know, NBA stands for nothing but actors. So the beef that we have there will never spill over into real life. I see him with his beautiful wife and his lovely daughters. I'm not going to go throw a drink in his face. So, hey, what's up, Kobe? How you doing? And the times we had were special times, times that'll never be forgotten. And, you know, a lot of people forget that 15-1 in the playoffs. You know, if it wasn't for Allen Iverson stepping over Tyronn Lue, we'd probably be the best NBA team ever to win a championship. And we still have the record. I was a little nervous last year when Golden State went 73-9. I was like, man, they're going to break our record. But they didn't. So, you know, two guys that hate each other still have that record. 15-1 to win a championship. And that'll never be broken.
Hated each other.
Well, two guys who they thought hated each other. Look at Ernie, he's a little lawyer today. What is this, Ernie, a deposition?
So there was their episode there? So
no, there was no hate, Ernie, no hate.
Okay.
No hate.
Go to Miami, play with D. Wade. And you got a championship there, too. How special was that one to win?
It was special because I knew I was getting older. I was starting to lose it a little bit. When I got there with D. Wade, you know, I was like, you know what? I'm older. I'm tired. It's your team, D. Wade.
The major headline around the league tonight, the Los Angeles Lakers and Miami Heat have agreed to a trade that will send Shaquille O'Neal, one of the greatest big men of all time, to sunny South Florida.
Remember this? I'm going to bring a championship to Miami, I promise. If you look at the team that we have on paper, we should have won 79-3.
The Eastern Conference champions, the Miami Heat.
And the Miami Heat are champions of the basketball world.
I came to Miami because of this young fella right here. I knew he was a special player.
You play with Penny, play with Kobe. Go to Miami, play with D. Wade. And you got a championship there, too. How special was that one to win?
It was special because I knew I was getting older. I was starting to lose it a little bit. And Pat Riley was awesome. He was awesome. D. Wade was awesome. And, you know, when I got there with D. Wade, you know, I was like, you know what? I'm older. I'm tired. It's your team, D. Wade. First thing I did with D. Wade, we went to a restaurant and I told him all the stuff that happened bad with me and Kobe. And I said, I'm telling you this, D. Wade, because this could never happen between us. And I said, tomorrow when I go to the press conference, it's your team. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna be your consultant. I'm gonna be your consigliere. You're the godfather. I'm the top lawyer. We work together. And we did. And, you know, he was great. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have that championship because I really didn't have a Shaq-style finals. Dallas Mavericks did a good job of fronting and backing and double and triple team, but I was always taught to utilize my teammates. Antoine stepped up, Posey stepped up, UD stepped up, Alonzo stepped up defensively. When we were down 0-2, we came back and we had a fiery team meet. We were just pointing each other out. I'm coming at Gary, Gary coming at me, UD. Like, it was just, you know, and we haven't had that. So we finally had that. You know, it was my way of letting the guys.
After two games of the finals.
Yeah, 2 games in the finals. We're at practice, and then we call a team meeting. We go at it. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You need to do this. You need to do that. So
in the NBA Finals,
in the NBA Finals,
most people laugh at that in the middle of the season when they say, "Oh, great, a team meeting. Oh, what's that gonna do?" And here you're down 2-0.
Down 2-0. We call a team meeting, and we're just jumping on each other. Boom, boom, boom. I let that go on for about 30 minutes. And I said, "Okay, what are we gonna do now?" And then we figure out a strategy, you know, because we knew that we could beat them. We knew we just had to take one game at a time. So our focus was to take one game at a time. And Pat Riley had this big bowl in the middle of the floor, and he had a lot of cards. He put stuff in every day. He wouldn't let us see. But he would always pull one card out and say 15 strong. And he was right. And, you know, being that he was there before and he won the championship, the guys believed him. I believed him because, you know, it took coaches like that to get me to play at that next level. You know, no disrespect to all my other coaches, but if I'm playing for a guy that's been there before, I know he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to follow him to the end. So, you know, we rallied together, and, you know, we go up 3-2, and then Pat Riley comes in pissed off. We ain't practicing today. We going here tomorrow, and you better bring one suit. When you get to the airport tomorrow at 12 o'clock, I'm checking. If you ain't got one suit, your ass ain't coming on the plane. So when we got to the airport, he's checking people back, and we actually had to bring one suit. True story. True story. So we get to the airport, he's checking everybody's bag to see if we had one suit. Because he's like, we're up 3-2, we're going on that floor, we're going to end it. There ain't going to be no game 7. And that's what everybody had to think about. And he's probably one of the greatest motivators. Him and Dale Brown, they you know, when they tell stories before a game, you just want to go out and kill people, Ernie.
Is there part of you, because I know you're into leadership, that taps into that and says, boy, that's good. Yeah, I can use that later in life.
It did. And, you know, Pat Riley and Dale Brown are similar guys. They teach never give up. You know, I can remember a game we weren't playing well, and Pat Riley comes in. You guys' mind aren't in it. He comes in with a big bucket of water. It's all up here. You can do anything you want. I'm gonna put my head in that bucket for 3 minutes. And everybody's sitting there like, yeah, the record is 1:30. Like people that go scuba dive 1:30, maybe 2. And he did it for 3 minutes.
Oh, come on.
3 minutes. Ernie, he stuck his hand. Ask him next time you see him. He stuck
with his hair. He put his hair under there too.
Yes, he stuck.
I don't know which part of that is more amazing.
I'm telling you, he did it. So like, the guys like looking at him like, you know what? He's right. So like his speeches and his stories, and you know, I always tell people that's what always took me to the next level. Not training, not going out and being in the gym 3 hours. Conversations.
So those kind of things, whether it's Sarge, or whether it's Dale Brown, or Phil and his Zen, or Pat Riley, those were the kind of things that gave you that oomph that you needed?
Yes, because growing up, it took a disciplinarian to make me who I am. It took a disciplinarian for me to stop being a follower and learn to be a leader. I was a medium-level juvenile delinquent. I used to come home and get in trouble. My father would just say, "Gotta stop being a follower, man. I know your friends wanted to steal a car and you jumped in the car with them. Now everybody's in trouble. You gotta stop that. You gotta learn how to be a leader." So, you know, once I mastered that, and then, it took that type of guy to get me to always go to that next level. Dale Brown was like that. He had a rule that if you miss class, you'll run. I'm a junior. I'm All-American. I'm on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I might be going pro at the end of this year. I might not. I missed class one day. So I'm laying, I'm sleeping, and there's a white hand on my chest. I'm so tired. And, guys that went out the night before, and I wake up, and I actually think I'm dead. And I'm like, God? Because, I see a white hand on my chest. And the craziest thing is, I got 3 locks on my door. How the hell did this guy get in my room? So he got his hand on my chest, and I'm like, God? He said, no, it's me. Get your ass to the track. At 6 a.m., so he ran me. I ran about 15 laps, Ernie, 3 miles. So we run, he stopped, he let you catch your breath, and I never missed class again. Never missed class again. So it took that disciplinarian, father-like figure to get me to perform at the next level. You know, a guy asked me the other day, are you happy about the Hall of Fame? And I said, yeah. And he said, you don't have a smile on your face. And this was his dream as well as my dream.
Password, don't fake the funk on a nasty dunk.
At some point in your career, when you saw the trajectory of your career, you had to think at some point, you know what? This is going to wind up in the Hall of Fame.
I only got confirmation when I heard other people say it. I knew what I had to do. If you can remember, my first commercial was Don't Fake the Funk on a Nasty Dunk. And it was Kareem, it was Wilt Chamberlain, it was Bill Russell, and it was Bill Walton. And I designed that commercial to keep me motivated and say, you know what? They're going to compare you to these guys. You got to play similar to these guys or better to these guys if you want to reach the pinnacle to where these guys reach. So I knew I had big shoes to fill. I knew I had big expectations. And I knew if I could just come in and, you know, play my own style, my own brand of basketball, that possibly I can get there. If I didn't have any championships, to answer your question, no. Like everybody would say, oh, he's good, he's doing this, doing that, but he doesn't have any championships. But now that I have 4 championships and I dominated the way I did, I can say, yes, I truly believe I am Hall of Famer.
To not have him listening to you at Springfield, making that speech.
You know, a guy asked me the other day, are you happy about the Hall of Fame? And I said, yeah. And he said, you don't have a smile on your face. And this was his dream as well as my dream. He's my stepfather, even though I don't believe in the term stepfather. But when he started teaching me basketball, he always preached 3 names: Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, and Bill Russell. He told me everything about those guys. And he was like, he kept saying, if you listen to me, I can make you as good as those guys. Like, I never wanted to be those guys. I wanted to be Dr. J. But once I became 7 foot, I was like, you know, I got to be like these guys. And he would just preach their name all the time. And then when I heard other people say Shaq is similar to these guys, I was like, you know what? All that stuff he was teaching me was correct. Now let me start tuning it up. So, you know, let me start tuning it up. A quote that my father told me. You know, he called me NBA. I was having a terrible game. He said, what's wrong? Pressure? I said a little bit. He said, when you come home, come see me. So came home and we took a ride and we saw a homeless family on the curve. We talked to him, we had a conversation with him. You know, we tried to give him some money, took him to Walmart, got him some clothes, and on the way back, he said, that's pressure. Not knowing where your next meals come from. So you make a lot of money playing this game. You don't ever say that word pressure to me again. And that changed my life, and that changed the way I play. Because you think about it, Ernie, you know, we make a good living, guaranteed contracts. It ain't no pressure. You just go out, do your job, and perform.
Late in your career, was it hard to not be as dominant?
Yes.
I mean, did that?
Yes.
How do you describe that feeling that, you know, yeah, Shaq's on that team, but that's not Shaq anymore?
Yeah, I felt awful, and I knew it was coming to an end.
Deflected out of bounds. Last touch by Shaq.
Lob. Rondo. Shaq can't finish it.
Shaquille O'Neal missing a bunny layup again.
Late in your career, was it hard to not be as dominant?
Yes.
I mean, did that?
Yes.
How do you describe that feeling that, you know, yeah, Shaq's on that team, but that's not Shaq anymore?
Yeah, I felt awful, and I knew it was coming to an end, but I felt bad because Shaq is 28, 15. That's the Shaq people remember, and I wanted to be remembered like that. So when I was 12 and 14, I didn't feel comfortable with myself. The only thing that kept me going was I already had the cushion of having 4 championships. If I didn't have no championships, probably would have drove me crazy, Ernie. But being that I had 4, I still had enough cushion left to just you know, go out and just try to have fun. So when I was in Boston and I blew my leg out, I was thank you. I wasn't gonna try to come back and rehab. Thank you. It's over, big guy. Because in Boston, what was I averaging? Single digits? That's unheard of for the Shaq man. And it felt bad. I mean, I went out and, you know, tried to be a role player, but it was awful.
What else is out there, Shaq?
I just added another dream. To be able to watch my sons make it to where I made it. And my son, I think, is a pretty good basketball player because I don't put pressure on him. Same thing my father did with me. Like, my father always preached basketball, but he preached education even harder. If I come home with a D, Ernie, oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I got to shine shoes, I got to mop, I got to paint, I got to cut everybody's grass in the neighborhood. Like, yeah, he didn't play that. So he always stressed education. So I always tell my kids, you don't have to play. I played, we did that. But you got to get 2 degrees. Why? I say, because I'm doing some things now that's going to, you know, set you up. But, you know, same thing my father taught me. You always want to be able to know what you're getting into. You want to be educated enough to run it. So I have 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls, and like I always tell them, one of y'all going to law school, one of y'all getting into politics, one of y'all gonna run some businesses, and 2 of y'all may be in the NBA, but 3 of y'all gonna do something else. You know, I always had different dreams as a youngster. On the way to the court, I was LL Cool J. I had a cane goal, I had a fake rope chain, I had a boombox.
Small world.
Small world. On the mean streets of Milwaukee, huh? And then when I got to the court, I was Dr. J. So, you know, it's just about me fulfilling my dreams.
Was the acting bug in there somewhere along with all that other stuff? Because that came too.
Imagine yourself as a little kid, always on punishment, watching TV. So I used to see like Dr. J and all those guys, and I used to be like, wow, I wish I could do that. And I flicked the channel and MTV Raps. Man, I could do that. And then I'd see a movie like The Terminator, like a guy comes in, he's doing, like, I can do that. So, you know, all these things were things that I always wanted to do, but not really. But the opportunity came, and you know, you can't turn down opportunities. I'm sitting in LA in a restaurant, and a guy comes up to me and he says, I need you. And I was like, what do you need me for? He says, my name is William Friedkin. I did The Exorcist. I'm working on this new movie, Blue Chips. And I was like, well, what is it about? It's just about basketball. He's like, I need you to play a basketball player. I was like, all right, I could do that. And that's where I met Penny.
You can't contain this. I am Kazam.
And then I did my favorite movie, Kazam, after that. Then I just did.
Glad it's somebody's favorite.
It wasn't that bad, Ernie. And I've been blessed enough to be involved in 14 movies. You know, I'm not a professional actor. I'm just a guy.
But you enjoy it, and
because it's fun.
And the trained actors you work with always come away. They're saying, you know what, he's a funny guy. He was natural.
Ernie, it's fun. It's me as a youngster fulfilling my dreams. It's also me maximizing my potential. You know, you can't, listen, you know, it's not every day you have Hollywood producers say, I want you in the movie. What do I want to say? No? Can't. And, you know, same thing with me rapping. You know, it wasn't about me being a rapper. It's about me being in the studio with Notorious B.I.G., Jay-Z, Big Pun, Fat Joe, Nas, Peter Guns, Lord Tariq, Fushnikins, DJ Quick, Dub C, Ice Cube, Dre. That's what it was about. You know, as a youngster riding in the car, listening to their music, Tribe Called Quest, Phife Dawg, rest in peace. So, you know, me riding in the car just a couple years back, listening to them now, to me, getting them on the phone, having them at the studio in my house. That's what it's about.
Your birth father, no relationship whatsoever? Was there ever a time, Shaq, that you said, let's try to make something right?
I'm Vito Corleone.
It means I'm a sexy beast.
Well, I've been known to be called the Big Barishnikov. From this day on, I would like to be known as the Big Aristotle.
I am no longer the Big Aristotle. I want to be known as the Big Shakespeare. Or the Big Correctamundo.
The Big Witness Protection.
So in light of today, I'm retiring all my nicknames. The Big Aristotle, Shaq Fu, the Big Shamrock, the Big Cactus, the Diesel, and finally, the one and only original, never to be duplicated or replicated, Superman. So from now on, so from now on, you guys can call me the Big AARP, Association for the Advancement of Retired Persons.
What would your nickname be now? You had so many as a player, from Big Aristotle to...
You guys are gonna have to call me the Big Hoffa.
The Big Hoffa.
Yeah, Hall of Fame, ma.
That's
Big
excellent.
Hoffa, yeah.
That's excellent.
Not yet.
I'll remember that on opening night.
Yeah, Big Hoffa.
You've made it a point. Obviously, your stepfather was huge. I mean, and it's obvious that you think about him every day and what he taught you. Your birth father, no relationship whatsoever? Was there ever a time, Shaq, that you said, let's try to make something right?
That's an excellent question, Ernie. After the season, I made contact with him.
After what season?
After last season.
After this past season?
Yeah, after this past season, I made contact with him. He's still in Newark, New Jersey, and we're starting to form a relationship.
How did that happen, man? What happened in here for you that said,
you know what, it was kind of crazy, Ernie. Every time I go to New Jersey, I go to this restaurant, favorite restaurant. Been going there for years, and what I noticed is that, especially like the last few times before I made contact with him, like people they would start to look at me funny, like almost like scared, like there he is. So one day, I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna call my mother. I said, Mom, I'm gonna make contact with Joe Tony. You know where he is. She said, hold on, baby. So she got an address. Yeah, we go by the address. Nobody's there. It's an abandoned building. So then I leave, and then Jerome has one of his old partners find him. And we're on the plane going back, and we get a call, and he says, guess what, man? You're not gonna believe where Joe Tony has been these past 10 years. And we say, where? He lived upstairs from the restaurant. Yes. So we turn the plane around, we go back, and my conversation with him was, I don't hate you, brother. There is no hate. And, you know, a lot of guys do certain things. You know, he had problems as a youngster. And, you know, he did his thing, and, you know, we did our thing.
And to be clear, I mean, was it drug abuse?
Yes.
Prison?
Yes, drug abuse and prison. And my mother didn't want me growing up in that environment, so we left, and we lived with my grandmother. And as my mother was working in City Hall, that's when she met Sergeant Philip Harrison. But my conversation with him was, I don't hate you. You know, growing up in that type of environment is tough. And, you know, me now, because I'm all big time, I don't have the right to judge, nor will I judge. So that conversation we had the first time, I was like, look, man, I don't hate you. And, you know, I said, let's start to form a better relationship now. But if Sergeant Philip Harrison was still around, I probably wouldn't have made that call, Ernie, because I'm big on respect. And there was another man who came in and married a lady with another guy's child and made another guy's child what he is today. So he passed away, and I said, you know, let me have a better relationship. So great question, Ernie. We're starting to talk now, and found out I got another older brother and another younger brother, so we're gonna meet up soon.
When you talked to him, did you call him Dad?
I don't think I did at first. I think
that's gonna happen?
I don't know yet, Ernie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Because, you know, it's the difference between being a father and a dad. Anybody can be a father, but, you know, it takes strong men to be a dad. And my dad was Philip Arthur Harrison.
And I know your mom. We haven't talked much about her here, but I'll give you one more shot right here before we close this out.
My mother is my...
She's the greatest.
My mother is my favorite person in the world. We're best friends. And, you know, she's always honest with me. Like, whenever I do something crazy in society and I get that call from her, I'm like, uh-oh. And Ernie, she's the only one I know that can talk calm and not use a curse word, but curse me out at the same time. I'm one of those type of talent. Yeah, like, why'd you do that? But basically she's saying, you stupid man. What the So
that's what you're hearing.
Yeah,
it's not what she's saying, but that's what you're hearing.
That's what I'm hearing. So she's a wonderful woman. She just got her doctorate at Bethune-Cookman University. So she told me that I'm one of her favorite people. She told me that I inspired her to go back to school because having me, she gave up a lot of her dreams. She wanted to run a business and do certain things, but she took care of the family. And then she calls me one day and said, baby, can I borrow some money to go to college? I said, no, you can't borrow your money. I'll take care of it. So she went and got her bachelor's, she got a master's, and she just got a doctorate. So she's doing good. She's on the speaking circuit. She's an author. She's having fun.
When you're at Springfield and you're looking out at these sea of faces and you're going to see Hall of Famers and you're going to see friends and you're going to see Lucille O'Neal.
And I'll probably make one of my relatives move and leave an empty seat for Philip Harrison. I just ordered my tickets the other day, but I'm gonna probably have to make a painful call to one of my cousins and be like, hey, I need your seat. I'll make it up to you. Because I want that seat to be empty. So I know if he was still alive, he'd be there and he'd be so happy.